Hello and welcome to our 7th grade students. I am so delighted to welcome you, our class of 2026, to Dake Junior High. You are officially Dakers. The content of this video is really just to go over some logistics and some information that will be helpful as you start your year with us. If you were able to attend the in-person orientations on August 27th and 28th, this is the same presentation I gave to in the gym. There will also be another video that includes a tour of the building as well as some visuals of what our social distancing signs will look like, how our classrooms may be set up, and that has some more logistical information. So please make sure you tune into that one as well. So my name is Miss Heiman, and I am the proud principal of Dake Junior High School. There are 3 counselors at our building, and each takes a 7th grade GEM team, and each counselor is responsible for an 8th grade GEM team. So our counselors are Miss Graham is the counselor for the Ruby team, Miss Hess is the counselor for the Amethyst team, and Miss Williams is the counselor for the Sapphire team. We truly believe that the most important thing you can do to make Dake a place where everyone feels happy and safe is to be kind. And you will hear that message in your classes, in the hallways, in all the things that we do at Dake. It's so important to be kind to one another and to lift each other up and support each other, whether that's a student or a staff member. We just need to make sure we're being kind to everyone. So we've been able to identify some keys to success at Dake over the years by asking different former students and getting some information from that. So it really starts with maintaining excellent attendance. So whether you are coming to school a couple days a week through the hybrid model to start the year, or whether you're starting the year fully remotely, it will be important to log into your classes when it is time for that synchronous instruction. It's important to make sure you're at school every day. If you are not feeling well and have any of the symptoms of COVID, we ask that you do stay home, and we will support you in logging in and getting caught up on instruction that way. But attendance is really important to making sure that you're staying on an appropriate academic track and staying connected to the school building as well. It's important to work with respect, to be responsible, and have a strong work ethic. So that's organizing your work, that's making sure you're keeping up with assignments, it's asking questions if you don't understand something. It's also important to give your best effort. So we know that things can be challenging, but to do your best, and the adults and staff will help you. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you to make sure that you are as successful as you can be and that you reach your full potential. It's really important to complete your classwork and assignments. So Schoology is where your teachers will post your assignments and the due dates and information that you need. For your parents, they can access your Schoology this year to see what assignments you need to do, so make sure you're keeping up with those. And then Infinite Campus is where your grades will be located. So your parents can also have access to that too, and you have access to that to check in and see if you have any missing assignments, if there's any assignments you need to redo for more credit, and that's where a lot of the information will be posted about grading. It's important to use your time wisely, especially on those days where you may be working from home. So how can you organize your work and break it down into feasible parts that you'll be able to be successful with it. So right now, some of our teachers are working on preparing lessons for our opening day. And one of those lessons is going to focus on how do I stay organized when I'm not at school and when I'm home and have all these assignments to complete. So that's going to be something that we'll be working on in the first couple days of school. Like I said earlier, just ask for help if you need it. So make sure you reach out to those staff members or those teachers that if there's something you don't understand or if you need help finding something or any questions that you have, we are here to help you. We're here for you guys. So please make sure that you reach out and ask, and don't be afraid to ask questions, because I'm sure if you have a question, it's most likely that other people have the same question as well. In order to be successful long-term, we know that reading and writing is valuable and important to any path you choose in life. So really strengthening that ability to read and write, and that will be outside of school time. So reading for pleasure and writing for pleasure and just engaging in those types of activities. And then staying organized using your planner. So you will receive a school planner if you're working remotely. We'll get those to you in some pickup form, but please make sure you use your planner, and that will really help you keep track of what's due and when it's due and to record your assignments. So our expectations for success also include just behavioral expectations. So our code of conduct will apply to students whether they're here or working remotely. And it really, the foundation of that is being respectful and responsible to yourself. It's important to treat yourself respectfully and take responsibility to others, whether that's other students or staff, and to our school and the learning environment. So making sure that this school stays as a place of where it's a place to learn and grow as individuals and as a community. Part of that code of conduct includes information about the dress code. So that includes appropriate attire that conveys sensitivity and respect towards yourself and others, and to avoid clothing that advertises drugs or alcohol or is inappropriate or offensive. And because we'll be masked this year, that will include masks as well. So you need to make sure those things are all appropriate when you're coming to school or on a video call for one of your classes. We are so proud of our community values at Dake, and we have 4 of them that we really have embraced and worked to make sure that all of our community knows and understands these. So we'll work with you this year to have you learn and understand them and give you some activities to help guide that work. So our first community value is shared purpose. That really means that we're here to learn. So it means to be present, be prepared, and give your best effort. We value mistakes. We know that mistakes are an opportunity for growth. So if you make a mistake, it's not an embarrassing thing, it's not a negative thing, it really is an opportunity for you to learn and grow from those mistakes. And that research shows that that's when the most learning really happens. Our second community value is mutual respect, which means we care about each other as human beings. So that's thinking before you speak or you post something, and it's being accountable for your actions. So we know that sometimes conflict can happen and conflict can occur between people, but it's important to be accountable. So if you make a mistake or say something that was unkind, to take responsibility for that, to sit down with the other person and have a conversation, to take ownership and apologize, and then to work on repairing that relationship. So that's something we really focus on at Dake in order to keep our community strong. The third community value is mutual support, which means we help each other. So that is seeking out opportunities to help and motivate others. So that might be cheering up a friend who's having a hard day. It might be pointing someone in the right direction if they don't know where their class is. It might be offering to help your teacher with something in class. And it's really being an upstander. So upstander is language that you've used in, I think, grades 4 through 6, but it's really standing up if you see a student being treated unkindly, for you to stand up and say that's not okay, and to help intervene in that situation and support. And know if it's a situation that you're not comfortable with, just to let an adult know and let them handle the situation. Just letting someone know if you see something that's not right. Our fourth community value is shared pride, and that's celebrating our community. We are so prideful at Dake. We call ourselves Dakers. You are a Daker. We applaud and encourage each other and appreciate yourself and others, and know that we are a community and we're here to support each other. So the expectation is that interactions are positive, productive, safe, and healthy at all times. And that goes for student-to-student interactions, students to adults, and adult-to-adult interactions. So this includes all aspects of the school building and even aspects outside of the school building. We want to make sure that everyone feels safe and comfortable to learn and come to Dake and to grow as a community. So this includes places like the classrooms, the hallways, the cafeteria, after school or before school, during clubs, activities, and sports, when you're traveling to and from school, whether you're riding the bus or you're providing your own transportation, walking or biking. And then it also includes hours outside of the school day, especially regarding the use of social media. So in our code of conduct, it does state that if there's an incident that occurs on social media and it gets brought into the school building and impacts our learning environment, it does become something that the school will take care of and will engage you in conversations about, and how do we repair that, and how do we work through that and learn from that mistake too. So this is something that we like to highlight with all of our students, and it's the acronym THINK. You may have seen it before in your other schools, but before you post anything anywhere, please know that once you post something, it's public and it's permanent. And here are some questions to ask yourself before you post. So is it something that's true? Is it helpful? Is it inspirational? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And as you go through those questions, if it just doesn't feel right or you think it's something you shouldn't do, don't post. Our librarian, Miss Barrel, will go through some lessons with you as we start the year to talk about your digital footprints and just the impact of posting on social media. So that will be a learning experience so you can understand what happens when you click that post, and how long standing that information can be there for. So here's just some logistical pieces of arrival and dismissal for you guys as seventh graders. So for grade 7 arrival, your arrival time is from 7:45 to 7:55 a.m. And there are 2 doors you can enter in the morning. So the doors are door number 1 is our main entrance, and door number 3 is the door down by the cafeteria. So those 2 doors will be staffed with staff members to support with temperature screening and providing social distance entry into the building. Once you enter 7th graders, you're going to go straight to the cafeteria. The APR will also be open, but once that will only open if the cafeteria is already full. So if you need to get breakfast, you would go through the breakfast line and then have a seat in the cafeteria. If the cafeteria is full, you would still go through the cafeteria to grab breakfast and then head over to the APR. So you will eat in those 2 locations. At 8 a.m., you will be dismissed to go to your first period class. So there is no homeroom time listed in your schedule. It's embedded right in first period. Our announcements will start at 8:10, and then classes for your first period will start right at 8:15 in the morning. So if you are traveling via bus to school and have transportation provided by the district, please understand that that's a privilege, and you still need to make sure you're following our school rules. They apply on the bus too. So for transportation this year, the transportation department is working on a bus route so you can be socially distanced from peers on the bus. You need to make sure you wear a mask at all times and make sure you stay seated and are talking at a respectable volume to make sure the bus driver can keep you safe and get you to and from school safely. So please know that that is a privilege, and we want to make sure that your transportation stays in place all year. If you ride a bike to school, there is a bike rack outside of exit 3, so near the cafeteria door. We ask that you bring a lock and please lock your bike. There is a fence that surrounds the bike rack, which we will close during the school day and reopen. However, it is really important that you lock your bike each day. Like I said previously, school rules apply coming to and from school, so make sure your interactions are positive and kind to one another. Your 9th grade class will dismiss at 2:45, and we ask that 7th graders just exit the building immediately upon dismissal, because we do need to make sure we have the 7th graders cleared out of the building before we dismiss our 8th graders at 3 p.m. The doors you can exit from, so the same doors you entered from, are also student exits, and then doors 6 and 7 are also 2 other exits that you can use at dismissal time. Just some safety parameters that I'd like to go over with you. So all of our classrooms and learning spaces, and even our cafeteria and our all-purpose room, they will be set up for social distancing. And that means, which you probably already know by now, that is maintaining a 6 feet of separation between you and other people. In our music spaces and our PE spaces, you will be maintaining a 12 feet of separation. So you'll be a little more spread out because there is some airflow and expended energy. So there is a bigger distance in those spaces. So as Dr. Johnson has shared, to start the year, masks will be worn at all times by students and staff, except for when there are planned mask breaks and lunch. So at lunch, you will be able to take your mask off to eat your lunch. Our hallway transitions, our hallways will be 2-directional, which means you can go either way in the hallway, but the motto this year is mask tight, stay to the right. So your mask needs to be on and you need to stay to the right side of the hallway. So there will be arrows on the ground to show you the directional flow to help you until we get into a routine as a school. So it's really important that you stay all the way to the right side of the hallway and you stay distanced from peers in the hallway and have your mask on. The stairwells this year, since our stairwells are not as wide as our hallways, we do have stairwells that are up only and stairwells that are down only, and those will be marked for you. So it will probably take a little bit of time to get used to, but once you know that, we know you'll be able to flow quickly to your classes and transition from class to class in a timely fashion. So again, arrows, and there will be social distancing markers will be throughout the building, and especially in our high traffic areas like the cafeteria and some of our hallways, it will be marked for you, so you know what our expectations are, and it'll just be a reminder for you too. And transition time between classes will be staggered to start the year. That will be, the 7th graders will be transitioned at the first bell, and then 2 minutes later, the 8th graders will be transitioned at that bell to get to their next class. So we ask that when you leave your class, you go straight to the next class and not congregate in the hallway, because our goal is to make sure that everybody is safe and getting to classes on time. So for lunch, seventh graders are going to eat lunch first in the cafeteria for the first 20 minutes of their lunch period. So if you have fourth period lunch, once you get dismissed from third period, you would go straight to the cafeteria. There will be staff in there to support going through the lunch lines together. There will also be markers on the ground to show you the flow of how the lunch lines will go. The chairs and tables will be color coded for seventh and eighth grade, so we'll have different seating for each of those grade levels. And our large tables have been removed, and we do have individual tables and chairs for you to eat at. You are going to be socially distanced during seating, especially because you won't have your mask on when you're eating your lunch. So when you get your lunch and go find a seat, only when you sit down is when you can take your mask off. So your mask will be on until you actually sit down to eat your lunch, and then you will have to put it back on after you finish your lunch and when you're ready to transition out of the lunchroom. So the second half of your lunch, you will go to either the all-purpose room or the chorus room for the second 20 minutes of lunch, and this will be listed directly on your schedule. So when you receive your schedule for your lunch period, it will say lunch first half, and then the second half, it will have an assigned location, and that is the location you need to report to, because we need to make sure we know which students are going to which location during their lunch period. We have cell phone and backpack expectations, and they are updated slightly this year due to the fact that we are not using lockers. So your cell phone, you may carry your cell phone to and from school, because we know that you may need to contact a parent or guardian when you arrive to school or when you're leaving. But when you enter the school building, it must be stored in your backpack or bag for the remainder of the day. There is a phone in the main office if you need to contact a parent, a guardian, or if you need to just check in with someone at home. You can just talk to your teacher and ask them to use the main office phone. That is the phone that we're asking that you use during the day. So cell phones should be turned off or on silent and away for the majority of the school day. Backpacks. You are able to carry a large backpack this year. So in the past, we had done cinch sacks. This year, since we are not using lockers, you can carry a large backpack. We are working right now on processes for textbooks. So we will most likely have textbooks either stored in classrooms or at home. So you're not lugging those around all day long. We want to make sure you don't have too much to carry with you during the school day. So our school counselors are amazing, and you're going to love them, and they are here to support you in so many different ways. So here are just a few of the ways that they will support you over the next 2 years as you are a Daker. They serve as a support role, so they help work with teaming. So like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, they each have a GEM team that they work with, and that will be your counselor. So if you're on the Ruby team, your counselor would be Miss Graham, and she will be your counselor over the next 2 years at Dake. So counselors work really hard to plan with you for your future. So they'll engage with you in different activities and surveys over the next 2 years to really help you figure out what it is you're passionate about, what opportunities there are at the high school for maybe some electives or classes that really align with that passion, and can really help you kind of plan out your future over the next 5 years with us in West Irondequoit. They'll also help you understand just yourself and how you operate as a person and what needs you have. So whether that's decision making or organizational skills, they will go through some activities with you in different courses that you're in to work on those things and to help support you as you are learning and growing and growing into young adults. They will sometimes provide group guidance, so they may come into a class period and teach a lesson, and then they're really here to support if you have any family needs or any peer needs or any academic issues. So since we are starting the year in a hybrid model and remotely, the counseling staff is really working right now to come up with the system of how to access your counselor in a way that you can schedule an appointment and still have access to them even on days that you're not in the building. So we will send out more information in the first days of school about what that will look like for our counseling center. So we are here to help you. So we know that this is new and you're new to the building. So in any way that we can help, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me or to your counselor to help support you. We want you to feel excited and happy and just really energized to come to Dake and to join us. And we are so excited to welcome you into the Dake family as our newest Dakers. So welcome to Dake. As I said in the beginning of the presentation, there is another video which will go through more of what the building will look like and what the different spaces in the building are. So please feel free to view that. And we are so excited to welcome our class of 2026. Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.